Hey all, Choi Boy here. Welcome to another Sharesies Portfolio update, and this time it's for August 2021. Now, I will be focusing on Plexure this time because there has been some, events within the past month, and it's quite interesting, things that I never really thought would happen, so soon. Just before we start, there is a disclaimer, not a financial advisor. Please take everything I say with a grain of salt because I'm an amateur just like you guys, and it's really important you guys do your own research and make sure you know what you're buying and why you're selling, so on like that. So keep that in mind and we'll get straight into it. So the portfolio value is still pretty much the same as the previous Sharesies portfolio update. It was $18,000 last time, it's 18.3 this time. So just a bit off, but we can definitely see the market has kind of, settled down a bit. It's just consolidating, not doing too much, not going so volatile because it's already been such a volatile year in the past 1 year. So I guess it's about time it settles down and it lets the investors think through it and make sure they have the right plans for the coming future, whether it's going to consolidate more or if it's going to go up or if it's going to go to a bear market. Who really knows? The best you could do is prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So the total return is $739 in the negative, meaning I am down $739 from how much I put in initially, just my own contributions. Simple return is at negative 2.8%. And remember, there is a difference between this number and this number right here. This is how much I've put into my 4 investments. Obviously I'm down a lot, mainly because of Blackberry. This number is produced by this number divided by this. I am trying my best to not focus on these numbers too much because it is quite confusing. So other than that, the graph is same old. We're in the lower side. The profits hasn't been too good, but at least I'm nearly breaking even from the total cash contributions I've put into Sharesies so far. That being said, let's go to the first company of the portfolio, which is Blackberry. So we got Blackberry right here, currently sitting at $11.20. It's been moving up and down a bit. It's starting to come back up. I'm not sure if this is just a consolidation. Well, in a long-term point of view, long term for us, I guess, but in the past 6 months, it's been not doing too much. It's just been bouncing between around $8 to $15, and it's just doing that. So when do we expect Blackberry to go beyond the $15 resistance? We're not sure, and it might take some time, or it might happen in the next month. Who really knows? It's really volatile, but I can say that they're doing pretty well. To be honest, their IV is doing pretty well. They did some tests on the Blackberry softwares and the systems. I'm not a security guy, so I'm not exactly sure what is going on 100%, but in general, we're saying that Blackberry's systems has been tested and the softwares have been tested, and it's been blocking out attacks, which is really good because they're a cybersecurity company and that's what they do. So they were awarded with a AAA rating in SE Labs breach response test, so that's really good. Of course, they have a security summit coming up pretty soon, so you can register for that apparently. And we can see that Nobo Technologies select Blackberry for advanced digital cockpit controller in Great Wall Motors. I think that's a Chinese automotive brand, so it's going somewhere. Blackberry is continuously just moving along, nothing too crazy, but I think as long as we can keep this trajectory, it's gonna go really well in the next year or so. So let's hope 1 year later from now onwards, we are looking at like a share price of $20 plus, because I really do see a lot of potential in this company still till this day. So nothing too crazy, but that's Blackberry in the grand scheme of things so far. Okay, second newest stock I have, Virgin Galactic. Virgin Galactic, I don't have that much money in it. Obviously, I profit took twice, so it is normal that I don't really have much in it. I made roughly around 2.5x on this, so it's not too bad. The only thing is that all the interesting things happened already, like a successful test flight, another successful test flight recently as well with a full crew on the spaceship, which is really good. The FAA approval to actually commercialize this flight. There's a lot of good things happening with it, and I did see that they have been opening up sales for each seat for 450,000 US dollars. That's a lot of money. Obviously, there will be people that are willing to pay the price to, explore the space, and it's pretty good. I'm pretty excited about that. Once the sales hit their full potential, they're gonna make quite a bit of money. They seem like they're the leaders in this kind of space, kind of travel industry. It's not something that other companies really want to get into at this point in time. Like other companies like, SpaceX, Origin Blue, like Rocket Lab, those kind of things are not really rockets to take people out, well, especially just casual people, just normal people like us. It's for commercial use and for astronauts or something like that. But for these ones, it's targeted at anyone who has the money to go on one of these spaceships. So this is going to be an interesting one to look into. I guess Virgin Galactic as a stock could be quite underwhelming just because COVID-19 is delaying things there in the company, as they say on their sites as well. We're getting that vaccination rate up, and once it gets to a reasonable level and no more lockdowns and the pandemic kind of goes down, then it's gonna look a lot better for Virgin Galactic. So let's hope for the best. Once again, I made my decent chunk out of this one, but I'll keep the rest in it for now because I just don't have many other companies I'm kind of eyeing into at this point in time. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Plexure last because it's got the most content. Raycon was a pretty interesting one. It came up a lot. $1.01 is quite a bit of a jump there for me. It is not much, but 7.8% return is not too shabby at all. Considering the fact that I only had it for like 2 or 3 months, it's not too bad at all. And I do expect it to do really well because when we look at the annual meeting that they had in August, it was looking pretty good. TLDR of the annual meeting was pretty much 5G is, coming up the ranks, and it's being very popular around the world. So telecoms using Raycon's products to build up their infrastructures. Not only that, any kind of vehicles and any autonomous vehicles as well. All these kind of things require TCXOs and other timing products that Raycon makes, and they're really in a good position to deliver for all of that. I also read that they can produce 40% more of their products in the manufacturing lines, which is really good as well, and they're in for the money. They're gonna make money, and it's such a good time for them. It's a perfect time for them to shine. So I'm gonna look into it. I might add more money in the future. Who knows? Or, $1,000 is not too bad as well. If it does go a few folds in a year or two, I'll be pretty happy with it as well, because that's how much potential I see it. The current financials are not well represented in the stock price, in my opinion, so far. I'm looking at a good $2-3 for this to be, reasonable. Since it's been around for quite some time, it's not a new company. It's been running for at least like 50 years. They really know their stuff. They know where they stand in the global shortage of these oscillators. So let's keep an eye on Raycon for now. I think this is quite an interesting one in the electronics sector, which is kind of covered in the tech sector in the New Zealand market. So this one's something to look into, in my opinion. Okay, last company, it's Plexure. Now, Plexure had a few things, and I guess looking at the title, you might be wondering what I'm going to do with Plexure. There's a lot of things to think about, and it is quite overwhelming. So let's go into it. It's currently sitting at 54 cents. So that dipped a lot from the previous Sharesies Portfolio update. I think it was 69 cents in the previous update. Now it's 54. What happened? They had the CEO of Plexure resigning, which is Craig. He's been with the company for a good 4 years. He's the one who kind of brought up that startup Plexure into where it is right now, which is quite a big SME. So when I first looked into this news, I was quite confused on why Craig would leave with immediate effect, because normally execs would stay on for quite some time until they find a replacement. But That wasn't happening here. He just left. And I don't think there's any bad blood here because it clearly states that he has a young family he wants to spend more time with. And I'm sure everyone agrees in the company that he's been traveling around a lot, I guess, meeting new clients and talking to people and trying to get the business moving. He probably didn't have enough time to spend with his family. So if that's the case, then I'm totally supporting his decision on that. And also, he didn't sell any of his shares. I think he exercised his million options. So he got 1 million in options, which came up in the investor center as well. So check that out yourself as well, or you can look it on the Reap app, which is REAP. Not sponsored by them, but it's a pretty good app, so you should check it out. But I think I see why this might have happened so suddenly. Also because there's this news that came out in mid-August that Plexure is merging with Task. I don't know what this company is. Like, I never knew about it. It's an Australian company that Plexure's trying to eat up. So there's a few interesting things. It does get quite long if I explain everything. But TLDR, Task is like in a similar sector as Plexure. They do similar things. They can cross-sell really well. I think they just make software and sell hardware for kind of transactional systems, I think, payment systems. It says right here as well, so including POS systems, I guess, online ordering, loyalty, kiosk, and mobile apps globally deployed and scalable single technology stack. So these guys are doing something similar to Plexure. The interesting part is that I never heard about it, but they seem to have a lot of global companies on their client list, including a lot of the ones in New Zealand. I think I saw Sky City in there, Spark Arena, and they had like a few other companies, you know, all around. They had like quite a bit. So have a look at their site and their client list. It's pretty impressive. But also, Task has a higher valuation than Plexure. Plexure's valuation dipped a lot recently, and it's currently sitting just under $100 million valuation. Now, Task, they're being bought out by Plexure for 120 million Australian dollars. Quite a bit to pay. I've never seen this kind of... I don't even think it's an acquisition because it specifically says merge. And I guess when you're acquiring a company, you let that company just run. Like, for example, if Salesforce acquired Slack, then they just let Slack run as it is, but they just own the whole company. Where I think in this case, Plexure is actually merging with Task as one company. And that's going to be pretty interesting. I don't know how the new structure is going to look like. I don't know how people will be feeling inside the companies in either one, to be honest. And that's something to look out for. The thing that is slightly concerning for me, which I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but there are a few things that's happening. They're being bought out for 120 million Australian dollars, but 30 million of them is getting paid in cash, which is fine because Plexure had the capital raise, which made them have a lot of cash sitting in the bank, which is good. And I guess they're making use of that. But the thing here is the thing that most people might be worried about with dilution, because share dilution might be a thing when they are paying Task $78.5 million worth of Plexure shares. And these are new ordinary Plexure shares issued. This is going to be pretty interesting. I think Josh is going to make a video about this sooner or later, to be honest. So we'll keep an eye on that. Thanks, Josh. But, you know, there's another 11.5 million that's going to be coming into the market in a new Task LTI scheme. So there's a lot of interesting things that's happening in this one event. It's completely going to change the entire company. So I'm excited and also concerned about how this is going to look like, but I think it is for the better. Going down the road they are going down right now, it wasn't looking so good. Like, they have, you know, revenue, they have good earnings, but what happens next? They did a bunch of capital raise, they listed their stuff to ASX. Now what? This is the next big thing. This is exactly what people might have wanted. don't know if is it worth the dilution. That's another question as well, which we will only know later. I think they're planning to finish this up by October, so let's keep an eye on this one. I'll talk about it in the live stream. So I get asked this in the live streams all the time, so tune into one of those and I'll kind of talk about that as time goes. Anyways, that's about it for the Sharesies Portfolio update. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up, put a comment down below. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, put on the notification for all my live updates and my live streams, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out.